Is Comic-Con different this year than last year?
I literally have just stepped on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is my first 30 seconds inside the building. So we will see. I could answer that question later today. Yeah.
We'll call you up later.
Yeah.
So in the comics, your character obviously has history. I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't read the comics, but is that ever haunting for you as an actor? Is like, oh, what do I do here?
Yeah, it was at the beginning, but the writers are super communicative, and so anything that they may be trying to foreshadow, not necessarily that plot line, but anything that happens in the comics or anything that happens with my character later on, they will tell you as you're playing it, and so you'll kind of have that inside your head. But at the beginning with the fate of what happens, I was like every day going in a set, like, what's happening, guys? What are we thinking down the line? Yeah, I was kind of nervous.
We were just talking to Virginia about her stealing your girl.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that?
It's funny. It addresses it in one of. I thought it was so funny. It addresses it in one of the episodes. I'm not sure if you guys have got to see it or not when they're in the room and whatever. But I think it's a little awkward for him. I think he's, he loved Nico. The fact that he had to lose her the way he did, it sucks for him. But he also understands and is trying to respect that whole thing they have going on, their relationship. And so I guess he does take a step back and he sort of finds his own route as well.
He does have something happen for him romantically in season 2 as well,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, which was super exciting to play out as well. Yeah, so he, towards the beginning, he sort of starts seeing Darius a bit more and finding more about himself. They're still teenagers trying to get through life and trying to figure out who they are as people. And so in doing that, he finds Darius, and Darius sort of helps him along the way. And he meets people along the way through that journey as well.
Do you feel that you and Nico are fighting for leadership for the team?
I think there's a bit of him that always feels like he can sort of strategize better and sort of command in a way. But I think he also understands that his standing with the group isn't as strong as it once was. So in the first season, especially towards the end, they kind of turned to him and like, all right, tell us what to do. Where are we going? What's our next move? And in this one, they don't have that same trust for him. And so there's a bit of a struggle, but I think he understands this is now Nico's sort of position, and he sort of takes a step back, I think.
Yeah, but he spends a couple episodes away from the group. Is challenging for him? Does that make him step back and
in a way he sort of does ostracize himself a little bit, but I think it's a two-way street. I think they weren't being so great with him, and so he sort of took a step back as well. I think his motivations are still there for the group. I think he still does care about the rest of them, which is why he goes to Darius in the first place, is to get that, to get what he needs from Darius, so that he can provide. But it's tough for him, his relationship with the group at the beginning, for sure, yeah.
As the only character without superpowers or a pet raptor,
right, yeah.
Does that inform kind of how you play Alex? Does he have a thing where he kind of feels like he has to compensate for not bringing something to the table?
I think as an actor, maybe I feel like I would love a power or something, and so I'd try and compensate. No, but I think he understands his role in the group. I think, and especially more in the second season, as it goes on, you will sort of see him step up and do what needs to be done, and I think he proves his role in the Runaways as well, even more so this time when he sort of gets the chance to do that. So even without those powers, he finds a way to use his head that it's still beneficial and useful for the group.
What's your favorite dynamic so far with a different character maybe we didn't get to see last season as much, or maybe just favorite dynamic in general this season?
I guess I just love hanging out with Greg all the time. So between Alex and Chase, any of those scenes we get to share, I have a great time. But I think the dynamic between Jonah and Carolina is super interesting going into the second. At the end of the first, you sort of saw maybe a hint of him trying to help her sort of understand what she is and who she is. And I think getting to watch some of those back, like in ADR, I would just ask, hey, can we just play that whole scene back? Getting to watch that, the way they both did it, is amazing. So I can't wait to actually get to sit down and watch, the whole season all the way through.
Do you have any favorite scene in the season?
Oh man, the thing is I haven't got to see any of it. But from what I have seen, episode 3, all of it of episode 3, I've loved so far. The airport scene looked super cool. I got to see some of that in the trailer. So that's what I'm kind of looking out for. Is episode 3 in general. That's one of my favorite episodes we did. Yeah, Larry Tang directed it. It's amazing. It killed it. Yeah.
And was it like that your characters are kind of have been stripped away from privilege? You know, how's that kind of play out this season?
Yeah, that's a huge issue at the beginning. They don't know how to manage this world. They don't know what to do. And so finding food is tough. Finding shelter is tough. Thankfully, they find the underground mansion pretty quick on, so that kind of helps them there. But it's, they're homeless at the beginning, and so it's a learning curve for them. They're trying to figure it all out while still trying to figure themselves out. And so it's kind of this interesting thing to kind of watch them scavenge while also surviving,
So this is kind of far out, but Luke Cage, Alex appears in Luke Cage comics.
Oh, that's right. I fucking read that.
Is there any, part of you that's just hopeful for, Luke Cage season 10? That you'll roll over there? Do you know any of those guys?
I am 1,000% in. If they could get me in to be a villain over there on Luke Cage, I'll be very... He plays the villain, right? Yeah. I'd be very excited to square off against Mike. That'd be great.
All right.
Great. Okay, guys, thank you.
Thank you.